Well, hey guys, if you're new here, I'm a board certified dermatologist, and in this video, I'm gonna go over some of the things you are getting wrong about skincare. Things I hear all the time, see in my comments section here in YouTube, over on Instagram, TikTok, all of those social media is where you can find me. All right, number one, rub the moisturizer on your neck in a upward, never downward fashion, because downward is tugging the skin and is going to lead to more aging of the neck. I call BS on that. Honestly, I've gotten these types of comments anytime I show myself putting skincare on. People are always out there telling me that I'm rubbing it in the wrong direction, and I'm just like, prove it. Show me a study that says that rubbing moisturizer in any given direction changes the rate of skin aging. I call absolute BS on that. I think there is this misconception that the collagen in the deeper layers of our skin is like uber fragile. I mean, it's there to strengthen the deeper layers of the skin, and it is destroyed by ultraviolet radiation. Production of good quality collagen relies on things like estrogens in women, and that is why as women approach menopause and throughout menopause, they start to lose collagen independent of sun damage. Production also declines just as part of the natural aging process, and certain lifestyle factors can accelerate the rate of collagen degradation, contributing to aging. Namely, smoking destroys your collagen. Drinking alcohol in excess destroys your collagen. Eating processed sugary food nonstop all day, every day, or making all of your meals processed sugary food, it does not behoove your collagen because of advanced glycation end products. But as far as the direction with which you put cream on, I mean, come on, that is a stretch. Repetitive movements, with time, they do influence wrinkle formation, but I mean, this collagen is not that weak and brittle and fragile that rubbing a cream in any one specific direction is going to influence the visible signs of skin aging. But I call BS on, there's a wrong or right way to rub in a skincare product, because skincare products, they're lubricating, so it's gliding over the skin surface as well. I mean, this is a bit of a reach when we're talking about applying moisturizers or sunscreen to the neck or anywhere on the face. Likewise, people who talk about and insist that eye creams need to be applied with a certain finger for a light tapping, that too is BS. I mean, there's no paper out there that shows that. And I've been scolded by people in the comments for not patting in my moisturizer with a ring finger, but I mean, really, you're missing the bigger picture of skin aging if you really think that is where it's at. It doesn't harm you to pat with a ring finger if you find it more relaxing. Sure, that's fine, but it's not going to change the rate at which wrinkles appear around your eyes to pat in moisturizers with a ring finger. Somebody decided that because they needed more words in a magazine article, and it just got perpetuated over time. All right, here's another one that people are just getting wrong. All of you out there who have teenagers, I don't know, there's this false fixed belief that teenagers require their own special skincare products, and they don't. I mean, teenagers, they're not adults, but they can use adult skincare products. Truthfully, there's really not anything remarkable about skincare products for adults that makes them, age specific. Now, of course, there's certain ingredients that are more relevant at certain times of your life, certain ages. Their skin issues are largely going to be acne, but there's not, like, for example, there's not a sunscreen that is teen specific. When we're talking about teenagers, the most important thing is getting them to find a sunscreen that they like enough to actually use. I mean, that can make a tremendous difference in the health of their skin and their skin cancer risk long term, and it's a behavior. So the younger it is that you get in the habit of it, then the harder it becomes to break a good habit. So I suggest, if you have a teenager, give them, a bunch of different sunscreens, even your own, the one that you use and like, let them try it. There's not like a teen specific sunscreen. There's not a teen specific face wash. Follow any of my skincare routines. If you've got acne, I've got acne skincare routines. They're not specific to adults. All right, here's another thing that I really just want people to stop perpetuating, but I know it's not going to happen, and that is that there's such a thing as a pregnancy safe sunscreen. Because on the flip side of that is the assumption that some sunscreens are unsafe in pregnancy, and that is not true. Chemical sunscreens are more than safe in pregnancy. Mineral sunscreens are fine if that's the route you want to go, but you don't need, if you're pregnant or you find out you're pregnant, you don't have to suddenly rush out and find a new sunscreen. Continue to use whatever it was that you were using before. Unless with pregnancy, of course, your skin can become drier, more sensitive. So maybe the one that you were using, you don't tolerate it well during your pregnancy, fine. But do not feel as though you've got to abandon your sunscreen because it's not pregnancy safe. Yeah, I mean, during pregnancy, the skin is more vulnerable to healing with hyperpigmentation, no matter your background skin tone. It's more vulnerable to irritation, and sunscreen helps protect against the inflammatory effects of ultraviolet radiation on the skin. It helps protect against redness and irritation, and it also helps form a barrier to water loss, which you're more vulnerable to during pregnancy. Don't feel as though like you've got to study ingredients on sunscreens to make sure that they're pregnancy safe. I mean, sunscreen ingredients, yes, some of them have been actually shown to be detected in the bloodstream in very, very small quantities when used under maximal use conditions, which almost no one ever does. And that, I think, is something where people like the Environmental Not Working Group and these other, lobbying groups like to fearmonger around that when these ingredients have been used for decades and decades with no evidence of harm to human health or teratogenicity. They're fine, they're safe to use. You can use any sunscreen likewise in breastfeeding. I mean, you don't need a special lactation sunscreen. And the reason it frustrates me to see that marketing is because, like I said, it creates this idea, this misconception out there that some sunscreens are somehow unsafe in pregnancy. Prove it. We don't have any research to support that. And, what we do, the science as it stands suggests and shows that sunscreens are safe in pregnancy because people use them during pregnancy pre-fear-mongering around sunscreen ingredients with no evidence of any harm to human health. Now, I will say, like I said, some people's skin becomes more sensitive during pregnancy, and at least here in the States, our chemical sunscreens, the active ingredients are often stabilized with ingredients that can be irritating, burn, and sting. And during pregnancy, because your skin can become more sensitive, you may find that those just don't work for you. And that is really the overarching reason why a lot of dermatologists will suggest mineral sunscreens to their pregnant patients because they are less irritating. But it's not a rule that once you become pregnant, you can no longer use chemical sunscreens. You must use mineral sunscreens. How miserable is that for people of deeper skin tones to now have to use exclusively mineral sunscreens, which likely are going to leave a white cast on your skin? What does that do to sunscreen compliance during pregnancy? Ooh, it plummets. And like I said, people are more vulnerable to hyperpigmentation during pregnancy, especially people with deeper skin tones. So we've got to stop this nonsense. All right, here's one that I've been hearing on my channel in the comments section or, questions about for a long time. And you'll find some misinformed blogs out there that perpetuate this. It's like, geez. And that is that using a retinoid is actually going to be pro-aging because of the Hayflick limit. Oh, geez. Okay, what the heck is that? All right, the Hayflick limit applies to basically cells in a dish or cell lines. It's this idea that a cell type has, a limited number of divisions and then that's it. However, it does not apply to human skin. Why? Well, because the epidermis of human skin, it is constantly, turning over. It turns over every 30 days. You probably understood. The cells there's a reservoir of stem cells. Hayflick does not apply to stem cells. So Hayflick and shortening of telomeres, that's not a relevant factor in the epidermis, your skin, because you've got cells at the bottom layer that are, stem cells and cells within the pore actually that are stem cells that constantly regenerate the epidermis, and it goes through differentiation throughout different layers of the epidermis to, at the end result, those cells lose their nuclei. They become corneocytes meshed in lipid glue that forms the barrier, the shield that is the skin barrier. So no, you're not using a retinoid is not going to, advanced aging by increasing skin cell turnover and making you not have enough divisions of your epidermis. Skincare marketing loves to overemphasize exfoliating. They make it seem like we should all be, buffing our face 24/7. And I've cautioned against that. It can be very irritating. It's largely unnecessary. Like I said, your skin naturally turns over on its own. But another area where nobody talks about exfoliating that does exfoliate as well, because it's, an epithelial structure, is your intestines, your colon. So every time you poop, you're shedding some cells from your colon. Increasing exfoliation, well, if that were the case, then your gut would just atrophy after, several meals, because it does, if eating is gonna, increase transit through the digestive tract, more cells are gonna be exfoliated when you have a bowel movement. And so, yeah, I mean, your intestines, they don't, wither up and die from, eating too much. So it's the same principle when it comes to your skin. You've got stem cells that, supply new healthy cells. They differentiate and become the epidermis. So you don't have to worry about that, whether it be with the retinoid or any product that, increases skin cell turnover. All right, this is another frustration, misconception about skincare that just seriously needs to stop. And that is this idea that people of color must use mineral sunscreens. Why punish people of color by telling them they must use mineral sunscreens? The idea there is that if they must use mineral sunscreens, then somehow chemical sunscreens are unsafe. That is absolutely not true. People of color should use the sunscreen they want to use and are happy to use consistently. So there's no right or wrong sunscreen for people of color. I would say that if anything, chemical sunscreens offer the potential for possibly more reliable protection against some of the wavelengths that lead to hyperpigmentation. It kind of depends on formulation overall. Don't just, think that zinc is the end all be all for issues of skin of color. It's simply not. Yeah, I mean, mineral sunscreens, they're gonna leave a cast. I love mineral sunscreens myself. I use them, recommend them, but they're gonna leave a cast on deeper skin tones, the untinted, the non-tinted ones. And some people with deeper skin tones, they're okay with that type of cast, but to say that you must wear this type of sunscreen, I think it's just ridiculous. People should wear the sunscreen they wanna wear and they like to wear. And that's going to be the best one. I mean, studies actually show that just wearing sunscreen at least once a day helps fade hyperpigmentation in people with deeper skin tones. And we've got studies looking at fading hyperpigmentation in deeper skin tones that use chemical sunscreen. Similar though to what I said when it comes to pregnancy, anything that causes irritation is going to exacerbate hyperpigmentation and make it worse. So here in the US, because we have so few chemical sunscreen ingredients that we are able to use, that results in sunscreens that burn and sting. So if a chemical sunscreen is irritating to your skin, then I do suggest choosing a mineral sunscreen because they tend to be less irritating. But, kind of a compromise there is a combination sunscreen. I think these can be a good option for people of color who have sensitive skin. They have zinc, but they also have some chemical filters, and the formulation is different from a chemical sunscreen in that they tend to not be as irritating unless you are exquisitely sensitive to chemical filters. But that is a better choice, and there is a little bit of a cast there, but it tends to be a lot more favorable than all zinc sunscreen or all mineral sunscreen formulations. And the last thing that people are getting wrong about skincare is that there is a wrong way to do skincare. I mean, sure, certain combinations of ingredients are more likely to cause irritation. Sure, not wearing sunscreen is not advised because UV rays damage the skin, contribute to skin aging and skin cancer. Sure, moisturizing on damp skin is a good way to get the most bang out of your moisturizer buck. But, I have been on the internet now going on 5 years, and I see so much bizarre territorial behavior around skincare and skincare routines, just in different comment sections and threads on the internet, like, criticizing people for doing certain things with their skincare. The advice that I give you guys on here, the tips, the suggestions and everything, I mean, it's kind of mostly coming from a point of, yeah, these are things that are more likely to cause problems for you, but plenty of people probably do some of these things and have no issue. So, you know, my tips and videos, they're never to make you feel bad about your skincare routine or about the products that you choose. I'm coming from a perspective of, well, these types of ingredients and this, you know, type of approach to skincare may be more problematic for certain skin issues, may be more likely to cause irritation. You know, we see this a lot, so it'd be great if brands would stop doing that. But it's not really to say that this way is wrong. I think we have come to a point where we do have a lot of information and at our disposal on the internet. Some of it's good, a lot of it's bad. And I think that we are really just overthinking something as simple as putting cream on our face. I really do, you know, how to layer serum with toner with da-da-da-da-da-da. I just think it's gotten really complicated. It's not supposed to be that deep. I really do think that the internet has become a very intense place in the past few years, as far as, well, I mean, everything. On the internet. I mean, seriously, I'm sure there is a grape eating community out there that's like, oh my God, people are still eating green grapes. Oh my God. It's just a grape. But what I was saying is we have a lot of information at our disposal now on the internet. Some of it is good, a lot of it is bad. And it's caused these echo chambers of ideas, some of them right, some concepts are, you know, accurate, correct. A lot of them are not. And it really does create these echo chambers that are very territorial and it gets intense. I mean, things like the jar packaging, you know, a lot of my myths videos, I mean, you see this in comment sections all the time of like this really intense scrutiny about certain ideas and skincare, and it's largely fluff and hand waving. So I really think we have gotten to a point where we're just overthinking something as simple as putting a cream on our face. For example, the frequency of face washing can become one of those things that people just really get, you know, nervous about. Like, oh my gosh, I see you're washing your face twice a day now. What happened? What happened? Nothing. I got a face wash that I like to use in the morning now, and it's hot. You know, it's like, it's not that complicated. Some people benefit from washing their face once a day. Others, you know, find that it's beneficial to wash twice a day. There's no rule there. You know, likewise, some people like to use an eye cream. Not necessary, but some people enjoy using an eye cream. They find that it helps them. Even though I say you don't need one, if you're using one, you know, I don't care. Not only do we have a lot of information that we can access on the interwebs, but we have way too many skincare products these days, way too many. I mean, that is another thing. There are a lot of products that are being launched and it's overwhelming. I think it causes unnecessary anxiety to have so many choices about what cream you're gonna put on your face, and then to have an army of people telling you all of these little nitpicky things that are false fixed beliefs on what is good and bad. Oh, it's too much. So anyways, you guys, skincare, it's meant to be enjoyable. Don't overthink it. I hope this video was useful to you guys. Comment below on if you have heard of any things that, you know, you think are misconceptions about skincare. Let me know. Maybe I can make another video like this debunking them. On the end slate, speaking of debunking, I'm going to put my last video on retinol myths. A lot of them I hear. So if you are into that type of video, check it out. But if you like this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.